Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Molly
I'm Michael.
and hope you guys are all having a great holiday season right now as we're closing out 2024. We just wanted to highlight our top 10 shows from this past year and go through our lists and our rankings. Each of us have our different lists on our own phones and haven't shared that with each other yet. So I'm excited to hear about your list, Michael, and we can go through just going from the bottom to the top. So, shall we get started?
Yeah, I'm so excited to see how different or similar our lists are. I think this will be really interesting.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so for my 10th place reality TV show from this past year, I ranked The Circle season 7.
Okay.
So with Deb and K Fern, our favorites, shout out to them, they came on the pod. I felt like that season was just fun and the cast overall was a lot of fun to watch and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was. I feel like The Circle had a period around like season three, four, five, where it was kind of forgettable and not, I feel like, kind of it was getting to be a little predictable as a format. And then I feel like season six, I think that they got like a slightly different production company working on the show, and they moved to the US, made a lot of changes, had a long break in between. And I feel like season six and seven have both been really, really good. And especially, I think season seven was just, there was a lot of gameplay, a lot of drama, a lot of craziness. So I agree with this. I think that that is a good pick for a top 10 list for this year.
Yes. So what was your 10?
So my 10, okay, this is interesting. So my 10th place is actually the only one of my list is a show that we did not cover. And it's a show that, so let me say, I originally had Secret Lives of Mormon Wives as number 10 here. Then, over the last few days, I have been binging season 2 of House of Villains. And it just ended this like past week. And the finale, the last two episodes of the season have been so crazy that I could not put this on the list here. And it might actually be higher up, but just because we haven't covered it and because like I didn't watch the entire season, I couldn't put it any higher than this. But spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't watched the season of House of Villains, I highly recommend you do. But the finale of this season, just because we're not covering it, I have to bring this up. So Wes Bergman from The Challenge and Jesse Goddard from Big Brother have they actually for most of the season they were working together, but then in the last second to last episode, there was a big betrayal. I won't go into all of it, but in the finale, they were both in the final three, and then Wes and Safari were the top two that tied. There's a jury vote at the end of the show, just like Survivor or Big Brother. And the two of them tied. So then Jesse, who was also in the final three but didn't end up in the tie, got to cast the tie breaking vote. And he had Wes get on his knees and beg for him to vote for him to win the show. And Wes Bergman, this proud, cocky, some might say, player who's done dozens of seasons of the challenge, is on his knees begging Jesse Goddard from like season 10 and 11 of Big Brother, who hasn't been on reality TV in 15 years, is begging for him to vote. And then Jesse still casts a vote for Safari to win.
Oh my gosh, that's drama.
So it's been crazy. Like, yeah, the I highly just watch like the last two episodes of the season. Even if you don't watch the rest of it, just watch the last two. I highly recommend it. Very, very good. Wild TV. Great cast. So yeah, that's my number 10.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't watch that. So now that's a good pitch to have me binge that now.
Yeah, while you have time over the holiday
Yeah.
break.
Exactly. Okay. Do you want to go your number 9 first, and then I'll do mine?
Okay, so actually, funny enough, my number 9 is season 7 of The Circle that we just
Oh,
talked about. So we don't
wait,
need to talk about it again, but yeah, that's my number 9.
that's a close one to mine then. Okay, so for me, I put Dancing with the Stars season 33 as my number
Ooh.
9 because I loved seeing Riley and Steven and Alona and Alan and just overall like this cast this past season was just so good, and it was the first time that I was really getting into Dancing with the Stars again, so I had to highlight it in my top 10 list just because, as we already discussed this on previous episode, just how big this season was, and I really enjoyed it myself, so I ranked it number 9.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it was the season that I feel like truly, truly brought back Dancing with the Stars into the cultural world relevancy. Um, I think for a show to do that in season 33 is just crazy. So yeah, I agree. I think that it absolutely deserves a spot in the top 10, and maybe it may or may not be in mine as well. We'll see.
Yes. Well, going back to The Circle for number 8, I ranked The Circle season 6 as number 8 because that was also in 2024 and also felt like that, as you were saying, like 6 and 7 were really like rejuvenation of The Circle, it seemed like, as a show, and just the strategy play that we saw in season 6 that we had never seen that before. And the cast overall was great. So I loved seeing that season as well.
Yeah, season 6 of The Circle, I feel like while not maybe as crazy and dramatic as season 7, like there weren't as many like fights in the public circle chat like we saw in season 7 all the time. But season 6, I think the gameplay was just really, really high. Like there were a lot of like reality TV fans. I mean, we talked about that with Jordan. We talked, like QT is a huge Big Brother fan. So I think that when you get those types of players, you might not get quite as much drama and personal relationship type craziness, but the gameplay level was really high. And I think that, yeah, it was super enjoyable season.
Yes. So what was your number 8, Michael?
My number 8 was Survivor 46. So not this past season, but the one we saw in the spring of 2024. I thought that was a very strong season. The only reason it's kind of lower on my list is just because I think the pre-merge was not as exciting. We had, I feel like, too much focus on like Banu and like, begging to stay and just like there was some drama that was fun, but like I feel like it really picked up in the post merge, and we saw so many people going home like one after the other with idols in their pockets, which was just crazy to witness. And I thought it ended out really, really strong with Kenzie Wynn and Charlie and Maria and all that drama. So I thought it ended on a high, and I think that it certainly, I think, left a good taste in my mouth for the season as a whole.
Yeah. No, that was a good season, and I love like, I feel like that didn't even feel like this past year. I actually didn't include that season in my list, but I was also trying to create some variety. So the only show that was in there twice was The Circle, so I was like, could do
Mm.
Survivor twice if I do The Circle twice.
Yeah, I
But
didn't, but I mean, spoiler alert, I don't have season 6 of The Circle in my list
okay.
either. So, like, yeah, we wanna
Yeah.
do a variety of different types of
Yeah,
shows here.
that makes sense. But yeah, no, that season was great. I just wish that Charlie won. That would have made it
I think a
better.
lot of people do, but I think Kenzie was a good winner.
Oh,
Like, I think
yeah.
we've kind of forget because, after a little while, you kind of forget, the specifics of certain people's
Mhm.
gameplays, but Kenzie was a super, strong player and deserving winner, but I think a lot of people were really rooting for Charlie and were pissed off at Maria for ruining that, so, yeah, I think that there was a little bit of controversy there when that season ended, but yeah, I think both very strong.
Yes, for sure. So what was your number 7?
So my number 7 was Big Brother 26.
Okay.
I thought it was a very strong season of Big Brother overall, especially when with the AI arena, a great twist, which we never say for Big Brother. We never give them any credit for any twists that they do, generally speaking. So the fact that people, I think, were pretty positive on this is a new thing to experience. But it sounds like that'll be back for future seasons. So this season may have fully impacted the future of Big Brother as a whole and the format as a whole, which is huge. And hopefully we stay positive, and maybe in a year we're going to come back and say, God, we wish we didn't weren't so positive on that. But who knows? I think that the last few weeks to me were just really weak after the double eviction when Angela and Leah left. It really, really quickly went super downhill. So that's the only reason why it's not higher on my list. But I think that's typical for Big Brother. Like the show typically always gets a lot more boring as we get close to the end there. So that's not a huge knock on it, but I think overall I felt very positive about the season.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this season, and Angela in particular, she was great. So I felt like it was strong and definitely deserves a place in the top 10.
Yeah. What was your
So
number
for
7?
me, my 7, I chose The Valley because
Oh,
did you forget about The
I
Valley?
forgot about the Valley. Shoot.
I know, I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't know if Michael's gonna remember that was this year.
I forgot. Dang
Um,
it.
it's okay, you can be an honorary number in yours.
Yeah.
But I loved seeing the season of The Valley. I mean, the first season they ever had, and so I felt like it came out very strong, and there's only room to grow from there, and just overall the cast and all the breakups that were happening and all the I mean, but wedding or not weddings, but marriages ending, like all that kind of stuff
Mhm.
that like is really high stakes kind of stuff and real drama that's going on in their lives and people that we hadn't gotten to see in a while, like Brittany and Jax, like hadn't been on our screen. So it was just overall great season.
Yeah. Oh, such a strong first season. Yeah. But I don't even know what I would have knocked off of my list. Like, that's the hard part about this.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, great season one for the Valley. I mean, the highest rated new show for Bravo in years and years and years. And I cannot wait for season two. Like, that is one of those things. Every time that there's like a teaser that a new trailer is coming out for Bravo, I'm like, is it the Valley? Please let it be the Valley. Like, I just cannot wait. There's so much happening right now with that group that I think that season two of the Valley is going to be even better than the first. And I can't wait. Yeah, that was a great choice.
Yes, thank you. I was excited when I was thinking about that show. I was like, "Oh yes, like The Valley definitely needs a spot in the top 10."
Because I
Uh,
like it's one of those weird things where like it came on at the same time as Vanderpump Rules, and so like I thought about Vanderpump Rules for my list, and I'm not going to say whether it's on there or not, but I just I feel like when I think of Vanderpump Rules, then I kind of like move on. I forget that there's also the Valley now, and I need to remember that for future reference.
yeah, and now that we don't have Vanderpump Rules, then The
Yeah.
Valley will definitely take
I
that
think
spot.
that's good for the Valley because I think it'll make the Valley stand on its own and be a lot more memorable on its own and not just combine like you kind of associate it with Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. And then for my number 6, staying on Bravo, I did Summer House season 8.
Mm.
So, this was also my first season of seeing Summer House and the entirety of it, so I was just really, like, not totally sure how I was gonna feel about it, but obviously loved it, and seeing all the stuff that was going down with Lindsay and Carl and Sarah and Wes and just everyone, like, in this cast, I had obviously, like, heard about some of the stuff, but, like, didn't know what their personalities were like, and I love Paige, so everyone just in that season was just great, so I had to rank that as my number 6.
Yeah, no, I love Summer House season 8. It was a great, great, great season. One of the best for Summer House. It was a show I thought about putting on here. I just couldn't think of what to take off in order to put it on. Like, I feel like it's in my like honorable mentions. Like, if we had like 12 even, it might have been in there. But I just couldn't take anything else off of my list here to add that on. But yeah, I think amazing season of Summer House, and we have the trailer for season 9 that's out now. That's coming in February, so can't wait for that. It looks to be another really good one. So yeah, I think great choice. I'm glad you put it on there because I didn't, and I was hoping that we could at least bring it up here in some way.
Yeah, and it was just crazy the lead up to us knowing that that breakup was happening, and then, like, the
Mhm.
entire season, like, obviously, they didn't know that yet, but we were watching that season like, "Oh, they're about to break up, they're about to break up," and then the whole blow up fight and everything that went down was just, like, top-notch drama TV, so I had to include it.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
and then what's your number 5? Oh, no, let's do
What
number
number
6.
6? Yeah.
Sorry, your number 6.
So my number 6, staying on Bravo again, is, Real Housewives of Orange County season 18. I thought it was a really, really strong season of Orange County. that show was in the dumps for a couple years. And then the last couple seasons, they have kind of slowly brought back a lot of the older cast members like Tamara and Heather and Alexis this season. And I think it's just this season was just magic. It was just one of those times where there was just so much happening all at the same time with Shannon's DUI and then Alexis dating John Jansen, and it was just and everything happening with Jen and Ryan, and it was just like so much going on in so many of their lives, and that's something that you just can't script, you can't prepare for. Like it just happens or it doesn't. And this season, it just was magic, and it all came together. And I think it was a really, really strong season of Orange County.
Yeah, and this was my first time actually watching Real Housewives of Orange County, so it was enjoyable for me as well. I didn't include it in my top 10 list, but it
Well, I
does.
know that we kind of stopped covering it midway through just
Yeah.
because so many other shows came on, but I continued watching it after we stopped covering it, which I assume you probably didn't as much. So I wanted to shout that out here since I figured that you probably wouldn't have it on your list, so I wanted to put it on mine to be sure that it got brought up here.
Yeah, so far we've had pretty balanced lists. I feel like we've kind of talked about a
Yeah.
decent amount of different shows. So what was your number 5?
So my number 5 was Survivor 47, so the most recent season of Survivor. I thought it was a fantastic season. It was strong from start to finish. It was just like I feel like a very special season to me just because like we went to that event during this season and we got to watch Operation Italy live with hundreds and hundreds of Survivor fans. So that's an episode that I'll just never forget just because of that. And I thought it was a great ending. And while it wasn't super surprising, I think that it was deserved and it would have been disappointing had anything else happened. And we still got a really fascinating fire making challenge in the end. And I thought it just was a strong ending to a strong season.
Yeah, I agree. I have it actually really close. So I'll jump ahead in a second because actually my Big Brother 26 I ranked as 5, so we already talked about that.
Okay.
And then Survivor 47 was 4 for
Okay.
me.
Very close.
So yeah, so I felt like also like everything that you just said, I agree with. And also just the gameplay I feel like we saw this season, like there were this like I feel like having the super fans on it like has really elevated that in a sense in the show that you get to see a lot of stuff that's going on with alliances, blind sides, and all that makes for a really fun season. And I feel like that like every episode, like there was something new to watch out for, which made it fun.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's it's something that I've been weirdly, like when I'm just like in bed thinking about things like, most people it's about their life. Mine's about reality television. And was thinking the other day like how so different about Big Brother and Survivor casting is that Big Brother like maybe there's like one or two super fans every season, but it's not the norm. And that what that causes is that Big Brother gameplay doesn't really evolve season after season because you're just getting a bunch of people who have like maybe seen a couple seasons of the show
Mhm.
and they're making the same mistakes as every other season. They're doing the same things and that's fun. But I think what Survivor does that's so interesting is that they typically mostly cast super fans. And
Mhm.
so because of that, they're not making the same mistakes that previous seasons have. They're able to elevate the gameplay and they're able to add on different elements to the game to complicate it, and the players are able to catch up to that because they understand the game going into it. They don't have to spend the first week just learning like what the basic elements of the game are and how it works. And so I think that like you said, casting all these super fans I think has really allowed the show to elevate, and I think that's something in the new era that has been a really good change that they've made in casting.
Yes, agreed. So yeah, that was my number 4. What was your number 4?
So my number 4 we've already talked about as well was Dancing with the Stars season
Oh.
33. I think that the only reason why it's really high up on my list is just because it was such a blockbuster season and just
Mhm.
like a cultural moment that I just couldn't deny the fact that it was the highest rated finale of the show since 2017. So it was just like I can't place that any lower because it was just such a breakthrough for the show that even
Mhm.
if like maybe some of the shows slightly below it, I was maybe more like I don't even know, I'm more invested in or just like it's just such a different type of show that like the investment's different, but I really enjoyed it and I think that it was just like we talked about, it was just such a important show this year.
Yeah, agreed, and I feel like the winners also were so deserving with Joey and Jenna,
Yeah.
so that also makes it for a all around great season.
Yeah, well, we will see them live in March together in Houston.
Yes.
So, looking
Yeah,
forward to
I
that.
can't wait. I love seeing Dancing with the Stars live on tour, so
Me
if
too.
you're listening and you don't have tickets, you guys should go as well because it'll be great.
Yes.
Um, and then now let's get into our top 3.
All
Okay, so do
right.
you wanna go first for your 3rd place?
So my third place is season 2 of The Traitors. That was I have there's a few shows, like maybe like one show a year that I'm like, once the cast comes out, I just like every day I'm waiting for a trailer. I'm waiting for a premiere date. I'm waiting for the show to start. Like, and that was this show this year. That as soon as that cast came out, as soon as they started filming, and actually the cast got leaked, and then they had to announce it officially just because it was getting leaked and they didn't want to they wanted to just kind of get ahead of that. I was waiting with bated breath for the show. I mean, the cast was just incredible. It was insane the fact that they were getting all these people from all these different types of shows. Like, someone who watches almost every single one of the shows that they were coming from, like, I couldn't wait to see like Tamra Judge and Parvati Shallow together with Janelle, like from Big Brother. Like, it was just like this crazy, like acid trip of a cast that I was just so excited for, and it didn't disappoint. It was a great season. It was a show that I every week was waiting for to come out and couldn't wait for the new episodes. So, an incredible season. I hope season 3 lives up to it. That starting just a week or so from when this podcast comes out. So, I am so excited for that. And yeah, that's my number 3.
Yes. No, I can't wait for Traitors season 3 as well, and I also have Traitors season 2 in my top 3, but I won't give it away yet because it wasn't number 3,
Ooh, okay.
but my number 3 actually was Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because
Oh.
I ranked that high because I felt like I just loved the season and it felt like now, like, the fact that they're also, like, spilling all into TikTok and all the drama there. Like I'm like constantly like wanting to be up to date with their lives. And I feel like I
Mhm.
haven't felt that way towards like a show like this in the past. Like I also kind of already knew who Taylor was going into the show. So I already had some association to some cast members already, which also made me excited to see the season. And then the season was great. And the first time they had the show as well. So as their pilot season, I felt like it really knocked everything off and like was so great. So I had to give it a top 3 spot because I can't wait for season 2 already. Like I'm like, can we please get it? But season 1 was great, and so I put it in here. I know you said you almost had it in your top 10, but then you what wasn't, right?
Yeah, so I originally had it as 10th, and I think the only reason, and I'm probably being hypocritical here because, like, I kind of said, like, for Dancing with the Stars is just because it was such a cultural moment, I put it at the top. But I think the reason why I didn't put it higher was only because I felt like the drama outside of the show was actually I'm more invested in and better and juicier than the actual show itself. Like, I enjoyed the show, but I think if I was just watching the show, like standalone without knowing any of the social media stuff, without like being invested in all of that, I would have enjoyed it, but I think it would have been slightly forgettable to me. And I think the season 2 I'm excited for because I think like now that it's all like they've seen the show, and now that it kind of all of this has jumped off and there's so much drama like on social media, like I think that there's a lot of potential for season 2 to be really really great. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I just couldn't put it quite in my top 10, or I guess like yeah, I and ended up not being in my top 10, but originally it was 10th. But yeah, I just couldn't put it any higher than that just because I felt like the show itself, if I'm just judging it on, I thought that the ones that I had above it, I was slightly more invested in, uh, just as the show, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
that's understandable. So now for my number 2, we've already talked about it, was Traitors season 2. As you said, just really, really great cast. Like everyone on there just delivered, and it was surprising that they could get everyone on that season. And it was great to see everyone's gameplay, and everyone just overall on that season was great. So I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes. And now what was your number 2, Michael?
My number 2 was Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 5, which is still ongoing, but I have loved every episode of this season. It has been just hit after hit after hit. I think the entire cast is killing it. I mean, everything from, like, everything with Mary Cosby, I think Bronwyn has been an incredible addition to the show. I think there's just everyone is clocked in every week, and there's no been zero filler episodes. I mean, it's just so rare that you get a season like this. And I have just I cannot wait for the last two episodes. Like in the we've seen the teaser for the finale where Whitney apparently called Monica Garcia to get some information that she brings to everyone, and the reunion apparently is incredible. So I think it's just firing on all cylinders right now, and I hope they just keep it the way it is for right now. You know, maybe bring in somebody new, but like, don't let any of these people go yet because they're all amazing.
Yes. I didn't include Real Housewives of Salt Lake City just because it hadn't ended yet, so I was including seasons
Mhm.
that had all ended,
Okay, yeah,
but if I did think about it in terms of what's still going on, I would have definitely included that in my top 10 as well, just because of all the drama and everything that's going on. The cast has been great, and also my first full season of Salt Lake City, so I've been really enjoying it as well.
yeah. I almost didn't include it because of that, but like, it's only two episodes left of
Yeah,
regular episodes, so like, I felt
I'll
like it's
count it.
close enough. Like, I'm not going to include it next year when like it'll have ended in January. So I figured if I'm include, it's now or never.
Exactly. So you had to get it in.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Now for our number 1.
I
Okay,
have
I
a
feel like
feeling
we
we
had
have the
the
same
same
number one.
one. Yeah. Okay, should we say it?
Yeah, okay, let's
Okay.
well, if we say it in unison, probably not gonna,
Okay,
probably
well,
gonna be
you can say
delayed.
yours first.
I have Love Island USA season
Same.
6. Yeah. Okay.
Yay. Okay, we have one of the same.
Yeah,
Um,
wow, that's the only one that we had in the exact same place, wow.
yeah. Well, we had a lot of similar other shows that were kinda similar place, some of them, but this one was obviously for me, like, this was my first Love Island season fully watching, and everything just about it, the casting, the all of the cultural moments of that as well, just how mainstream this became, and overall, this season was just amazing, and I love that everyone is still supporting the cast, like, PPG is still on top, and they are just killing it at life as well, so I love seeing that, but also this season brought all the drama and all the excitement that we wanted in a Love Island season. So I was so happy to see that, and that's why it's my number 1.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a cultural moment. Like, this show was just everywhere. And for a show that's on Peacock, that's, it's a streaming service that isn't necessarily, well, I mean, The Traders is also on Peacock. So, I mean, I think they actually, Peacock is incredible at reality television, but I feel like it's a little bit more, I don't want to say obscure, but it's like not where people are used to, I guess, just kind of going for their shows. And
Mhm.
so for it to become such a juggernaut still, it is incredible. And I just think it's one of those shows that, like, even my friends who don't watch anything else reality TV wise were watching it and were invested. And yeah, I mean, it was such a moment that I'm really, really curious to see if they're able to keep up for season 7. And I'm really curious to see what other shows we see these people on from once their contracts expire, which I don't know how long they are, but I would love to see them on other shows. Maybe though some of them will be on Love Island Games next year when that comes back, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, what a moment that was.
Yes, and also I love to see that Janae and Kenny, Miguel and Leah, and Serena and Cordell are also all still together.
Yeah.
So it shows that this
I don't know why for a
actually
second when you said Serena and Cordell, I don't know why I was picturing Nicole and Kendall in my mind. I was like, "No, they're not."
no, they actually just went to see Beyonce today at the Texans game. So I saw
Oh.
that because they live in Houston.
I've seen
Well,
there's been a bit of
Serena and Cordell, not Kendall.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I've seen there's been a bit of drama lately with, Nicole. I think that Liv and Kaylor unfollowed Nicole on Instagram apparently, so there's some drama brewing there maybe. I think that people are speculating maybe it's because they're close with Kendall still, and that maybe Nicole doesn't like that, but, there's still some drama with this group going on here.
Yeah, I feel like Nicole was always kind of on the outside of that group anyways,
Yeah.
so that makes sense if or maybe they're just not as close to her now, but still love Liv and Kayla as well, even though they're not with anyone from the season, gladly.
But I think
Um,
that makes it more likely that we're gonna see them back in some
yeah,
capacity on the show. I would honestly be a little bit shocked if Liv doesn't pop up on either Love Island Games or as, like, a surprise bombshell on season 7.
yeah,
'Cause I think that people are wanting her to find her match on that show, and she just like, it was like, as soon as she left, I forgot the Australian guy's name, Harrison, came
yeah.
in, and it was like, "Oh my god, that would've been the perfect pick for her." So, I think that would be a perfect match to for them to put back on in some capacity to find her match.
Yes, agreed, but yeah, I feel like Love Island USA season 6 was just a great, great season, so I hope that, as you were saying, season 7 can live up to it, but it's gonna be hard to see if anyone can because that was just amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard, but I think it's good that there's a full year in between because I think if they had tried to like if this was a show that was going on 2 times a year and you had a season as big as that and then like, a couple months later they tried to do a new season, everyone would have just been comparing it to that because it still would have been so fresh on everyone's mind, but I think a full year in between gives people enough time to like kind of look forward to it again. And the anticipation is there. And I think that maybe people will be less likely to just automatically be disappointed because they missed their favorites from last season and be a little more willing to embrace getting to know newbies.
Yeah, and just the format of the show, as we talked about in the past too, just makes it for such great engagement
Yeah.
because it's live and you're not like getting any spoilers of what's going on, and it's interactive with people you can vote for and all that, which
Mhm.
makes it more fun as a show to watch too, if you're engaged in it yourself and just overall like it became just the like every night put on Love Island, or like if it's a Wednesday night, like oh we don't can't get it, like it was like sad if we didn't
Mhm.
have it on. Like, it just became, like, so regular in our routines that, like,
Yeah.
it's in general, even if it's not, like, the best like it was this year, like, it still is gonna be good.
Yeah, it's a great format. It's a format that I think it forces there to be this drama. Like I think The Bachelor, I feel like, is a great example of a show that doesn't have honestly a great format that is guaranteed to induce drama. I think that it's a show that the lead can just pick. There can be a clear front runner from like week 2, and then the rest of the season is boring because you kind of know who the top 2 or 3 are, and if there's no drama, or it's clearly like producer driven drama. And I think Love Island is a show where you don't have to do any of that because the
Mhm.
format itself lends itself to there being chaos and drama without them having to, really producers go in there and push that to happen.
Yeah, that Casa Amor week was wild.
Crazy, and it always is, and I mean, it was especially crazy this year, I would say,
Mhm.
or maybe it seemed that way just because we were so invested, but I think that that's, the perfect example of a format that's just always gonna be drama.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Well, this was exciting hearing your list. I feel like
Yeah,
we
this was fun.
yeah, that was we'll have to keep doing
Are there
this each
any
week.
shows that you almost put on that we haven't talked about yet, that you wanna
Um,
just kind of, like, shout out?
well, yeah, I guess, I would've put on season 46 of Survivor.
Mm,
Um, or added that as well, in Salt Lake City.
okay.
But what about you?
No, I mean, The Valley was one that I just didn't think about,
Mhm,
that I'm glad we talked about. Um, Other than that, I mean, there's shows that are currently going on that might get a little bit screwed over just because they'll probably end really, really early into this year. So, like a year from now, not going to really remember that they were 2025 shows. But, but I don't know that I would put any of them on anyways. So, yeah, nothing that comes to mind. Like maybe like Selling Sunset
mhm,
season 8, I guess it was. Just because there was a lot of drama that wasn't necessarily like on the season, but with everything with Emma and the rumors about her that caused Chriselle and Chelsea and Emma to almost quit the show and the show to almost be canceled, I believe, because of that, which it seems like they are filming season 9, so that didn't happen. But there was a lot of drama because Emma didn't get a chance to defend herself from that accusation of her potentially home wrecking a family, allegedly. But it was just something that that was brought up on the show by Nicole, but was never brought to Emma. So Emma never got a chance on camera to defend herself, and that was something that a lot of the cast was upset about because she deserves a chance to defend herself and to show proof that that wasn't the case, which she ended up having to put on Instagram because the show didn't give her a chance to do that. So that
mhm.
was a big moment. And then, of course, everything with Chelsea and her marriage. But I think overall the season was like not amazing, I would say, as a whole. Like it wasn't one of their best seasons. So I wouldn't put it on the list. But like, if I had 15 or something, maybe I would.
Yeah, for sure, and it's also interesting you did highlight, like, how bachelor shows are different now with, like, the formatting and how it's not as drawn to create drama, and we didn't include any bachelor shows in our
Yeah,
top
which
10.
actually, like, I mean, Joey's season was very
Yeah,
good for
yeah,
Bachelor. So, like, I wouldn't put it on my top 10 list, but it was a good season of the show that was certainly also, in a sense, a little bit of a renaissance for the Bachelor franchise.
mhm. Yeah, and obviously, I still follow Joey and Kelsey now, so it's like I feel like obviously they came from The Bachelor, but now I consider them like more than that. Just because I mean Joey just
Mhm.
won Dancing with the Stars, so he's obviously more than that. But, but overall, like I feel like they're just doing really good things as being this in this spotlight now. So I like them and doesn't have to mean like I had that in my top 10, but it was like they had great people come out of it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'll give a little shout out to Vanderpump Rules just
Mhm.
because it's over for the main cast now. So it's not gonna, next year, who knows? I don't know if we're gonna get a season next year, whether it'll hold till early 2026. But yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't say it's the best season of Vanderpump Rules, but it certainly
Mhm.
was coming off of an incredible run for the show. And, it was it couldn't keep going the way that it was, but not a terrible season. And so I'll just give a little shout out to that OG cast that is no more for Bravo.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, but then I was like, it wasn't that great of a season that I was like, I can't put
Yeah.
it here. But I did
And
feel bad.
again, there's been a
So,
lot of drama lately. I mean, with
yeah.
obviously James Kennedy. So,
Oh, yeah.
that's been very sad, and hope
Yeah.
that Allie's okay. But, um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that as soon as I get off here, I'm going to think about another show that we missed. But, yeah. And I mean, like Love is Blind, we didn't talk about at all. Season 6 of Love is Blind was actually probably pretty good. That maybe, if I had a few more, I would have put it on
Yeah.
there. But, yeah, there's a lot that we kind of forgot about from early in the year, but I think that we did a pretty good job of highlighting the ones that I think were the best.
Yeah, agreed. This was fun to think back about all the shows that we watched this past year. I was like, wow, there's so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there will be more to come in 2025, I am sure.
Yes,
So,
I'm excited.
well, thank you all so much for listening. We hope you have a very happy holidays and New Year. And we will be back in the new year to cover whatever is on at that time. And we will be here for all of 2025 to cover everything from the new year. So Thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media at Let's Chat Reality and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And we will chat with you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.